Hi, my name is John.
And my name is Lloyd.
And we're the hosts of The Pint,
a pop culture podcast.
Lloyd, if you had to tell any of the people out there that might be listening to The Pint for the first time about anything unsavory or disconcerting we might do on the show, what would you warn them about?
Well, sometimes we drop spoilers, and sometimes we swear like motherfucking sailors.
Fuck yeah, we do. You heard it from him. You've been warned.
Listen in.
Welcome to your first episode of April 2026 here on The Pint. My name is John.
And I'm Laura.
And I reached out to Laura and I said, hey, let's do something fun in April. You're a big Godzilla fan. Let's do a Godzilla movie, but here's the twist. I'm going to let you pick. I'm going to let you, as a Pint Insider, request the Godzilla film. So the parameters are, these are the only parameters I gave Laura, is that we did one Godzilla film on the show ever. On the Pint Insider, we did the 1998 American Godzilla with Matthew Broderick. So you can't pick that. Pick whatever else you want. Laura, what did you pick, and what were maybe some of the other titles that were crossing your mind?
Well, after agonizing for, I think you gave me like 3 days.
Yeah.
Actually, until you're like, pressure's on, pick it now. So I have gone with Godzilla versus Biollante, the plant kaiju.
Yeah.
But like I said, those 3 days I was agonizing over my choice because there's so many choices to pick from and angles to come from. Like, do I pick a notoriously bad one? Do I pick one of the more highly revered ones? Or like, do I pick one that was just silly and fun to talk about? So I came down to this one, Mothra versus Godzilla, which was 1964. And Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, just because I love me some big kaiju robot fights.
We did Pacific Rim a few years ago, so...
Yes.
Yeah, you clearly like that. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about Godzilla versus Biollante.
Do you want me to get naked and start the revolution?
So this was released on December 16th of 1989 in Japan. It is the 17th film in the Toho Godzilla series. So there have been 33 films total, starting in 1954. This movie in particular was released on Criterion in 2025 on a 4K and Blu-ray. So there's like a fancy set of this particular movie.
Yeah, I went to go buy that.
Oh,
I bought that, yeah.
you picked it up, okay.
And this was a good excuse for me to finally buy it. I've been eyeing it for a little while.
There you go. And if you're not like Laura and going to jump on the $50 boutique label, I think just about most of the Godzilla movies are on HBO Max or HBO, whatever the fuck it's called. But there's like a whole section there, and that's where I watched it. This is the second film of what is called the Heisei era of Godzilla. That lasted from 1984 to 1995. It was 7 films long. It started in 1984 with the return of Godzilla, and this movie, we'll get into it, actually starts like with the ending of that film. It took me a few minutes to realize that. And then I was like, oh, I think this is the ending of the first film in the series. This film was written and directed by, now please forgive me, folks, I am going to be saying some Japanese words and names, and I'm going to do my best and be respectful about it. Written and directed by Kazuki Amori. He also was the writer and director on the next film in this series, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. And also, I think that's the next one, Godzilla vs. Mothra. Let's see. He's also a writer and director on some Japanese properties such as Chusei. And I had to put this one down because it's just an awesome name for a movie. And I can picture it like, you know, that bombastic Japanese style. Kante Caesar X the movie. : fight apostrophe Star Warriors.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds awesome. Now, the interesting part of this movie is he wrote the screenplay. The screenplay was based on a story by a gentleman named Shinichiro Kabayashi. Shinichiro Kabayashi was a dentist. He won a contest to write the story for this movie right after Return of Godzilla in 1984 was made. There was 5,000 entries, and he was one of the 10 finalists. So he had this idea for this story about Godzilla spores and the nuclear bacteria and all this stuff. And they said, okay, your movie gets made. It didn't get made as immediate as they planned. It was supposed to be like 1985 or 1986. There was some budgetary issues, so it got delayed to 1989. The guy who won the second place script, his idea was called Godzilla versus the Robot Army. And when this movie, Godzilla versus Biollante, got made and his script came in second, the folks at Toho reworked that secondary script from the other guy into a film that they also put out in 1989 called Gunhead, Gunhed, which is about robotic warriors. So they just took the Godzilla aspect out of it and kept the robot warriors. So
That sounds pretty badass.
yeah. It's the same year. So they made some good money off of these prize winners. But yeah, Shinichiro Kobayashi was a dentist who just liked to write things. At 16 years old, he wrote a fan script for Return of Ultraman television series, and his episode was made. So this guy got 2 different properties made as a fan, one of them being a major motion picture. So that's pretty interesting. Laura, is there an era of Godzilla that you are more fond of? Are you more fond of like the early stuff, this stuff here, the modern American stuff?
I definitely, at this point in my life, am more fond of the Heisei era. Like this current era, not this current, but the one we're currently talking about. I was introduced to Godzilla with the Showa era films, like the original ones. Like my parents had like the VHSs in my basement, and I would go watch them. And my dad's like, "Oh yeah, Godzilla's just like a dinosaur," and like that excited me as like a 6-year-old child. So that's when I first started getting into it. So I have special affection for the Showa era, but definitely like the Heisei a little bit more.
Okay. I am very much a very casual Godzilla fan. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, they used to play the movies on Sunday afternoons all the time. And so I'd seen them, here and there, but never really delved too deep into it. The 2 things that I really remember the most about Godzilla, for me, at my age when I was a little kid, was there was a Godzilla cartoon that aired maybe on NBC for a year or 2. And I could still remember the theme song. In my head, it's still there. And there's an action figure, a pretty tall action figure of the Shogun Warrior line that a lot of people covet. Like, adult collectors go after it. And I had it as a kid. It's the tall Godzilla that when you would press a button on his neck, you thought it was his tongue as a kid, but it was the fire, but it was in his mouth. It would retract and come out. And his fists shot off, which that makes no sense, right? That's never happened as far as I know. But like that figure, if you look it up, is like probably worth thousands of dollars now. My mom probably fucking threw it out when I was 7 years old, but
yeah, I was gonna say, I assume you don't have that anymore.
No, it's gone. It's long gone. It's in the same trash as all my G.I. Joes and my Transformers and all the shit that would have made me like I would own X now and everything would be better.
Yeah, if only we had the knowledge back then.
Exactly. Time travel and kill Hitler? No. Time travel and save my Godzilla figure from 1979? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about the cast, and I'm going to try not to butcher these people's names.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Now, Laura, I'm going to go through the cast. I am going to need you, as we talk about this movie, to help me with the proper character names in terms of who is who in this movie.
Okay, I have the character names written down just to help me keep them straight also. So
Excellent. So, Kunihiko Mitamura plays Kazuhito Kirishima. I believe this is the younger scientist who has like the little love subplot, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And he's also like secret agent man kind of. He's a singer in Japan. His albums, Volume 3, Selection 12, and Day by Day. So he's not just an actor, but he's got a voice of gold.
Double threat.
Yeah, he is. Yoshika Tanaka plays Asuka Okawi. All right. Who's that, Laura?
She is the love interest of Kirishima.
Okay. She's
daughter of the guy that's running the company that's creating the anti-nuclear energy bacteria.
Yes, okay. She's also a singer. She had one album in 1984, her first name, Yoshiko. And she also was in the Michael Douglas in, who was that? Andy Garcia Ridley Scott film Black Rain. And that's actually the same year as this, now that I think about it. Masanobu Takashima plays Major Kuroki. He was in a film called Assassination Classroom, Infection, and Demon City. Is that the younger hotshot head of the JDSF?
Yeah, like the military guy that's kind of running everything and telling everybody what to do.
Okay, all right. Koji Takahashi plays Dr. Shiragami. He is, I'm assuming, the father of Erika, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Japanese woman, Erika.
Yeah, all these characters' names, and then you get Erika thrown in there. Me and my girlfriend, me and Heather had a good laugh at that. He says that early on, when the character passes away, we'll get to that. He's like, Erika. He was in a film called Mother, Samurai Spy, and Imperial Navy. Toru Minagashi plays Colonel Gondo. I know Colonel Gondo because he's like the military badass who plants a nuclear bacteria rocket.
Anti-nuclear energy bacteria.
Yes, yeah, he does one of those into Godzilla's like mouth or something from a building. It's pretty badass. He was in a film called The Shinjuku Incident, Departures, and Suna and Shiru. This guy was only in one scene, but I felt like it was good to mention it. Demon Kogori, aka Demon Kako, plays himself. He has one scene in the movie. He's like a talking head on TV. He's the vocalist for a Japanese heavy metal band called Sakima 2. He's also been solo since 1990. He also voiced the Joker in the 89 Batman. He does the dub of Jack Nicholson in that. But here's some of his albums: Symphonia, Girls Rock, and Existence. And from what I understand about this guy, he's basically like Gene Simmons in Japan. He's like, at this point now, an older guy, but he still wears the kabuki makeup. He still rocks hard. But when I wrote the cast notes, I did it all before I watched the movie. So I was expecting him to show up a lot in this. And then when I watched the movie, he pops up in one little, little talking head scene, and then he doesn't show up again. I'm like, oh. But then I thought about it. I'm like, this is a big deal in Japan. This is like if Ozzy Osbourne was in a movie, here, people would be like, oh, the Ozzy cameo. This is his cameo. So I found it interesting.
From what I understand, he campaigned to be in the movie because he is a Godzilla super fan.
Oh, okay.
And he actually won a Godzilla roar contest.
Okay. All right. I did not read that.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, I mean, you got those metal skills, right? You might as well use them.
Yeah, put them to good use.
So, Laura, we're going to get into this movie, and I'm gonna lay my cards on the table immediately in terms of my viewing of this movie. Hour and 45 minutes. I got 45 minutes in, and I fell asleep. Not the movie's fault, but just, I fall asleep sometimes. I slept for about 20 minutes, woke up, and then I went back and rewatched and went through. I guess from what I understand about this movie, for real Godzilla fans, this is a favorite because they feel like it does enough of everything. It's got the kaiju action. It's got the good human development in it. It's got subplots about corporate espionage. So there's a lot packed into this, and my brain was popping at points. Also, another thing with this movie that I found interesting was, at least on HBO, is that I watched on HBO and I watched the dub version. So, but there were points where they were speaking in different languages other than Japanese where it wasn't dubbed. And then there was points where the characters were speaking in English. So I was bouncing back and forth. I don't know if most of the Godzilla movies of this era are like that, but I felt like I was getting kind of slapped on both ears on the sides of my head at points trying to pay attention to everything happening here.
Yeah, and it was really hard to understand the English-speaking parts at times because, at least on the Blu-ray that I was watching, they didn't subtitle the English parts because the subtitles were in Japanese.
Correct. Same thing.
So I had to watch those scenes a couple of times over to figure out what they were talking about.
Heather is a big subtitle person. I am not. But when they started that part, she said, oh, they're not putting them in English. And I went to go turn it on in English, and it didn't even give you the option. It was like the English overdub is that's all you get. You don't get the subtitles. You get subtitles in Japanese. So, So we start at the end of the last movie, which I've never seen, but Godzilla gets vanquished into a mountain. And now we start off where the Japanese army going through this decimated section of, I'm assuming it's Tokyo, and they're finding what initially look like turds, but it actually turns out to be Godzilla spore, like Godzilla cells that have dropped off of him during his latest temper tantrum. Who do they get attacked by? What country was that supposed to be?
So it's the fictional country of Saradia, which is supposed to be akin to Saudi Arabia.
So that's who the army was that was attacking them?
Saradia was only the one guy. The
Right.
guy with the sunglasses.
Who was the other army that was trying to take the cells before the guy from Saradia popped up? Because that's how it all starts. We have
that just seems to be generic American military.
Okay. That's
all my understanding of it was.
That's what I thought too. So the American military is attacking the Japanese military, trying to steal the Godzilla cells. And then all of a sudden we get this secret agent man that pops up throughout this entire movie. He wears sunglasses. He's got kind of long hair, a beard. He drives a DeLorean. It's not a DeLorean. It's probably some Japanese car from the 80s, but it's kind of sporty. And he ends up in possession of the Godzilla cells afterwards. We end up meeting the doctor character. What's his name again here?
Shiragami.
Shiragami. He's a specialist in, is he a botanist? What is he?
I assume so. He's a plant geneticist, possibly. Just generic scientist with a specialization in plants. At least his daughter is also a scientist, Erica.
Yeah.
She's some sort of botanist, so maybe both of them are, but they work with plants.
In the country of Saradia.
In Saradia. And they're in Saradia because we find out a little bit later they can't do the work they wanted to do in Japan because it wasn't socially accepted. And
right.
Saradia wants them to develop plant life that can grow and exist in the desert so they don't have to rely on oil as a source of economic balance for the country. They want to have fertile land so they can cultivate a better economy.
And they think that Dr. Shiragama can use the stolen Godzilla cells to somehow splice them with plant cells and make this fertile land. And so they're having a little bit of a meeting. His daughter is in the lab, and as they're having this meeting, all of a sudden we have this huge explosion, and everybody rushes to see what happened, and the laboratory has been bombed by some, I don't know, did they ever say who did the bombing? Or
no, as far as I could tell, because I rewound it a couple times to try and figure that out, but I think it was just a random terrorist attack.
Yeah, some terrorist attack takes Erica out. So Shiragama gets to the lab, and we see Erica dead on the ground, and he basically kind of falls to his knees, and then the story jumps forward 5 years. So now we're supposed to jump to, I guess, the year 1990. He is back in Japan, and he has, so this was hard for me to pick up, but he's put her DNA in a rose. Laura, explain this to me. I honestly was lost at this. I got the concept, but I didn't really understand what had happened here.
He wanted to preserve her spirit. So I guess since he is most likely a botanist or plant geneticist of some sort, he somehow spliced Erica's DNA or her cells into a rose plant to preserve her and to keep her around in his own sort of way.
He keeps her in this little, I guess,
like terrarium. Yeah,
this very small little area there, and she's with him in spirit, I guess. We also meet like a psychic girl, right? Like there's a whole subplot of, explain this, Laura, explain this for me.
There is a girl that has telekinetic powers, and she can speak to plants. That's not really explained more than that. It's just that plants have a mental energy, and because of that, she can speak to plants. So Shiragami brings her in, her name is Mickey, to speak to the roses that are spliced with his daughter Erica to see if the roses are saying anything, but it turns out that they're not.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I felt like I was paying attention to all this. Maybe it was the language barrier, but there was some stuff that I just was not picking up, and that was one of them. I didn't, until you just said that her power was to speak to plant life. I didn't even know that. I know that they introduce her. She has this woman that is kind of like, I don't know, a guardian with her. We get a little bit later into a spot where there's a school filled with all these children that all have the same prophetic dream one night. This is actually a cool scene, I thought, where all these kids, like 35 kids, it's been, I guess it's been told to the adults that they all had the same dream. And when they come into the room and say, what was your dream? They all hold up like these cool little crayon drawings, different crayon drawings, all of Godzilla. Which I thought that was an effective scene. That was very cool.
Oh yeah, and some of those drawings are, I'm assuming, I don't know if the kids actually drew those pictures, but some of them are really good. There was a couple in there, I was like, oh, I would hang that up on my wall.
Yeah. Get a tattoo of it. Just be honest, you get a tattoo.
Yeah,
of
I might, yeah.
Godzilla is trapped in the mountain, and he is being monitored. There's different levels of what they monitor for Godzilla activity. G, as they call him, G activity. Can you go through some of these levels and or like kind of what they are?
Yes. Okay. So level 1 is evidence Godzilla is there that's not physical. It's either scientific, geological, meteorological, or psychological. Any evidence that Godzilla is around except seeing him.
Right.
So that's level 1. Level 2 is any physical activity such as movement is detected. Level 3 is Godzilla has appeared. There's been a Godzilla sighting somewhere. And then level 4 is a certainty that Godzilla will land in a specific place on land. Like, they know Godzilla's going to Tokyo, or they know Godzilla's going to Osaka. Like, he's headed somewhere. These
people in these Godzilla movies are all so chill about Godzilla shit. Because it's their life. Like, it's like we deal with things every day that everybody in a different country deals with things that might be like, oh man, you got to deal with that. That's terrible. And, Godzilla is the Japanese, curse. Because there's scenes in this movie where Godzilla finally does wake up or finally does come to land. And, you kind of hear some of the announcements and it's just like, be cautious, Godzilla is in your neighborhood. Jesus, man. If I saw I don't even know he's supposed to be, 150-foot tall lizard, 900-foot tall lizard, I would be shitting my pants. But these people, there's a scene in this movie, and I'll just jump to it real quick, where Biollante first appears in like this like lake area. And they're just all standing across the road looking at this giant rose kaiju that's just kind of frozen, like it hasn't done anything yet. I saw that shit in the water. I'd be driving as fast as I could through anywhere but Middletown, Connecticut to get the fuck away from there. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing that I had the same thought too. It just becomes so normalized that even the crazy things just don't affect you like you would think they would. And I thought it was similar to how we all just got used to COVID. At first, it was the craziest thing. Our life was turned upside down in the matter of a couple of days, and then all of a sudden it just became so normal.
Right. To the point where now it's like it didn't even happen. Like, I think a lot of us feel so far away from it. It was only a couple years ago. And I guess that's what the idea behind the Godzilla character and the films is. It's a, what do you want to call it? It's a parallel to nuclear destruction of Japan in World War II, and the fear of it. And these Japanese storytellers wrote this story that kind of very much sits with that idea. It's just wild though. It's just wild. So let's get to the creation of Biollante, Laura. It's a giant rose monster that's made up of, it's 3 great tastes that taste great together. What is Biollante made of?
It is a combination of Godzilla cells, the combination of the Erica flowers. So it's human, plant, and Godzilla all put into one.
Right. And why does he create this again? I'm trying to remember what his reasoning was.
Because he believes that the addition of the Godzilla cells, like the introduction of them into the Erica roses, will create an immortal plant. So that means his daughter can never technically die.
Okay. All right. And there's also kind of a subplot of multiple thieves trying to steal the Godzilla cells as well. They pop up a couple different times. There's two different guys. At one point, they end up in the laboratory trying to steal the Godzilla cells, and they run afoul of the, I guess, stage 1 of Biollante, which is a pretty cool scene because Biollante's physical form, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but one of the, I guess, features it has is like these weird tentacles. And these two guys are trying to steal the cells from this lab, and these tentacles just start taking them out. Kill one of the guys, the other guy gets away. So, Laura, we go back a little bit to the character of, let me see here, Kirishima, the young guy who's a doctor, but he's also kind of like an action hero. What's his whole story?
He is against the anti-nuclear energy bacteria that's being developed. He thinks it's a bad idea because it could eventually be used as a weapon. So he is, and his girlfriend is the daughter of the owner of the company that's spearheading the effort to create that. He gets a letter that Massachusetts wants him to come there.
Yeah, just the state of Massachusetts.
Yeah, just Massachusetts wants Japanese scientists to just come study there, and he's thinking about it because he thinks the people in Japan are not doing the right thing.
I like the fact that, I mean, this is probably me being shitty towards Japanese culture, but I just found it interesting that the guy who runs the company, the father, is like in a business suit, but then every other time we see him, he's in like full on like Japanese kind of like robes. And again, that's probably like Japanese relaxation gear. I'm not 100% familiar with their jammies, like their pajama pants and like what they would wear at night. But like every time they're
comfortable.
He's super comfortable, but he's in like a Jedi robe. It's pretty fucking cool. You mentioned the anti-nuclear bacteria, Laura. Let's get into that a little bit.
So it's initially was being developed to clean up nuclear pollution. I believe fallout from bombs and stuff. It's bacteria that just devours the nuclear energy. But they realized that it could also be used as a weapon against Godzilla to like shoot into him, and I guess it burrows into him and like kind of eats him from the inside out.
Yeah, well, because Godzilla is basically, they explain, he's like a nuclear reactor. So the idea is if he comes back, we can use this bacteria to drain him. The bacteria eats up nuclear energy and basically pulls it out of whatever it's eating it out of. So if it were to do that, it would put Godzilla either into like some kind of dormancy again or kill him. And they're worried because they know that he's in this mountain. Yes, he's still alive because at one point we have the level 1, which is it Mickey? Is she the one that like psychically connects to him, or?
Yeah, she senses that Godzilla is awake. So I guess she is dreaming about him along with all of those children.
That's weird. This is the first Godzilla movie, by the way, in the entire run that uses computer-generated imagery. There's multiple scenes where you get like the 3D graph of, Godzilla in the mountain and all this stuff. And this is the first movie in the series that did that. Eventually, Godzilla ends up getting blown out of the mountain, Laura, by a saboteur. Am I correct in that?
When we go back to the people that broke into the laboratory to steal the cells when the vines were attacking them, that was an American pharmaceutical company called Major Bio, and they want the cells. I'm not exactly sure why they want the cells. I either missed that or they never really say outright, but they are...
It's definitely hard on pills, Laura. It's definitely hard on pills. Just
Godzilla dongs.
Yeah. You can't get it up? Don't you worry about it. We're going to give you Godzilla dick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that sounds fun, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they are kind of holding the Japanese people hostage, saying, hey, we're going to create explosions and we're going to release Godzilla unless you give us the... I think now they're looking for the anti-nuclear energy bacteria because it switches from the cells to the bacteria at some point. They're like, okay, we got to do an exchange or we're going to blow up and wake up Godzilla and he's going to kill you all.
But when they're going to do the exchange, the saboteur pops up again, the guy who keeps on popping up throughout this movie in the DeLorean-ish vehicle.
Yeah, the cool Middle Eastern guy with the sunglasses.
Yeah. Who, by the way, I think it's great that he causes all of this to happen. He's there to get this job done. And then when Godzilla fucks up their timetable and all of their traveling in Japan and shuts the airport down, he's driving to the airport to escape. And they're on the radio. They're like, planes are all canceled because of Godzilla. And he's like, God damn it. I thought that was hilarious. Like, he caused this and now he can't get out of the country. He should have had a better plan.
It's my own fault.
Have a better plan, bro. In all of this ruckus and melee, the truck that is holding the key to the...
It's the detonator.
The detonator. The truck that has the detonator basically inside, like it's like a computerized detonator, flips over and they can't stop it and it blows this mountain. What I like about this scene is you would think that, there's going to be this grand scene of like this mountain, like all these bombs blowing up and the top blowing off and then Godzilla crawling out of it. And then you got to remember that this is a Godzilla film with a guy in a rubber suit. So literally the detonator goes off, there's an explosion, and then all of a sudden Godzilla's just on fucking land. Like,
he's just there. He
just popped out of this thing like a fucking Pop-Tart out of a toaster and landed, and he's like, I'm back!
I'm back, motherfucker!
I'm back, motherfuckers, and I'm bad as fuck. He starts to go towards Tokyo, I believe they say, or Osaka. But since Biollante now has gotten out of the lab through that whole scene where those guys tried to steal the cells, Biollante starts to call Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Biollante is essentially Godzilla's like clone sister, right? Like, because
they're related.
She's built off of his DNA. Mm-hmm. And so she's kind of calling him to come to him. So he's going to this lake where this giant kaiju that looks like a plant with a rose head is just dormantly waiting for
with
something.
Teeth in the middle, like all those teeth in the middle.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool look.
Yeah.
Godzilla starts heading that way. Now, we kind of jump to the military faction. What was the name of the ship, Laura? The ship that's like throughout this whole movie, the hovercraft thing?
The Super X2.
Super X2. Now, in
the previous film, they had the Super X.
Okay, all right.
The Return of Godzilla, they had Super X, and it was piloted. Like there were actually people inside of it. This time, they have redesigned it to be remotely controlled.
Right. They mentioned that at one point that, one of its upgrades is that you don't need a human pilot or at least somebody on the ship. We could do it from here. So we meet this hotshot character who is the head of the Japanese Defense Forces that is in charge of the ship program. And what I thought was funny was there's a scene in the movie where they launch the ship. The ship goes up and it goes out scouting Godzilla. And then this character shows up and he meets like his superiors or the people he's going to be working with. And he's like, I'm in charge of the what was it, X2 again?
Super X2.
Super X2. I'm in charge of the Super X2 project. And I said to Heather, I'm like, he's not even there yet. They already launched this fucking thing. They didn't even wait for the guy he's like, this is my whole thing. And they're like, oh, that's already up in the air. He's like, what? So he goes my bad. I slept a little late this morning. I stopped by for some breakfast sandwiches. I was hungry.
I got coffee for everybody.
I got everybody coffee. Do you like light and sweet? But the feature on the Super X2, Laura, that is like this is like leather seats. This is like Bluetooth connectivity. This is like a CD player in 1989. What is the offensive feature about this thing?
Genetically created diamonds that will, when Godzilla shoots his heat ray, it will absorb the heat ray and it will shoot it back at Godzilla at 10,000 times its power.
The fire mirror.
Yeah.
So we get the scene where Godzilla is tropsing through the water, And the Super X2 kind of starts to fly around him. They have their little dance, and then all of a sudden the front of this thing opens up, and we've got that giant diamond. And Godzilla doesn't know what the fuck this is. Godzilla this is his thing, right? I just breathe heavy fire shit, and I knock things out of the sky. And he does so. I like the effect in this too, because Godzilla's heat beam in this is blue, which I know it changes here and there, but it's blue in this. And when he blasts the fire mirror, it comes back green and it beats the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
This is a pretty cool scene where it's just flying around him in the water, and every time he blasts it, it just kicks his ass. Laura, as a Godzilla fan, is this a good scene?
It's hard for me to watch. I'm usually on Godzilla's side, so I don't like it when he falls over. I don't like it when he gets hurt. I know that he is supposed to be the bad guy sometimes, but when you see a horse fall over and you feel like, oh, like, that's not good for the horse.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when Godzilla falls over.
Yeah, I get it. He is bad in this, though. He's not...
Yeah, I know.
Like, Biollante really doesn't do anything bad in this except, like, try to, like, fight Godzilla off. I feel like she might be the hero kaiju of this movie.
No, yeah, she definitely is.
Yeah. So, eventually, Godzilla makes his way past the Super X2, and he gets to the lake that Biollante is hanging out in. And like I said, Biollante has been dormant this whole time until he shows up. Laura, what happens from here?
She kind of like lets her vines go loose, and her vines have like these little heads with teeth on the edge, and like they wrap themselves around Godzilla and they try to trip him, and they're biting at him, and Godzilla's heat breathing her back, and she's like exploding with this yellow green goo, and it's a fun fight just because the vines make it so dynamic, especially since Biollante is so static.
Yeah,
but,
just standing there, yeah.
Yeah, but she's also, like, arguably the most pretty kaiju.
In this form, yes, it's a giant rose, right?
Like and they did a gorgeous job creating her, and like just the shot with her, and then the matte paintings in the background and the lake. Like it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's a cool looking monster for sure. So they fight it for a little bit, and then Godzilla gets the upper hand, and in a movie called Godzilla vs. Biollante, Godzilla kills Biollante, I don't know, this is halfway through the movie, and she disappears for the next 40 minutes, which I found weird.
Yeah.
But he blasts her with the heat ray a couple times, and she just, like, basically sets on fire. There's actually kind of, like, it's kind of sad, but, like, the rose petals wilt and fall off of the head and, like, fall into the water, and then she just blows the fuck up. Like, all these golden colored spores, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they're supposed to be spores.
Fly up into the sky. Now, there's a deleted scene that I read about where some of them cross land in Japan, and where they land, the flowers bloom immediately. That would have been great. Why didn't we leave that in there?
They have that scene on the special edition, like the DVD stuff. So I actually saw little bits and pieces of that scene, and I don't understand why they cut it out. It was a really nice looking, shot. So
yeah, it's cool to kind of what's the word? Like elaborate on Biollante's power and the fact that this is like this plant is super powerful.
Yeah, and not like actually dead.
Right. Well, because that's important. Because also, I think during this scene, the doctor character, what's his name again? Jesus Christ.
Shiragami
says, Biollante is immortal. So, like, he knows that even though this physical form is gone, that this thing is still kind of floating out there.
Mm-hmm.
We get Godzilla attacking through a city. There's a great scene in this bit where the Colonel Gordo carries his name Gondo. Hold on. Gondo. Fucking shit, man.
Yeah, Gondo.
There's a scene where Colonel Gondo and his men all load up to kill for bear, man. They got their guns all set. They got their bazookas all set. And they each have a rocket laced with this anti-nuclear bacterial material that they are planning on taking Godzilla down with. And they all take separate vantage points in different buildings. Laura, how does this work out?
Well, they shoot 2 into him, and they kind of like spin around to drill deeper into him, it looks like. And then Gondo goes up and gets a different vantage point. He blows the glass out of a high rise. Godzilla is coming towards him, like he's turned around his back to the window, and we see like Godzilla's head just like coming closer and closer, and he whips around and Godzilla starts to roar, and he shoots one of the capsules, or the little bombs or whatever, into his mouth. And then he has the really cool line of saying, "It's better to take your medicine orally, Mr. Godzilla."
Yeah. Like, there's no way, like I don't know a lot about Godzilla film culture or Japanese film culture, but like, in America, we got Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. We got a lot of great lines that people repeat all the time. There's no way that this is not one that, like, in Japan, they're like, when this movie plays, like, they're just waiting for him to say that.
Yeah.
I also love the fact in this scene, and I said it to Heather when we were watching it, Gondo is in the building, he's turned around, and Godzilla knows he's there. So Godzilla, like, kind of slinks up to the window, like, 40 stories high. And I said to Heather, he's behind me, isn't he? Because he turns around and there's just Godzilla's fucking head, but he blasts him with that. He says the line, and then Godzilla has a great retort. He just smashes the building on top of this guy's head.
Yeah.
He's
and
like,
and the floor collapses and he just goes down, and you're like, all right, that's it for Gondo.
Gondo is fucking gonzo. It's over.
Yes.
It's over. All right, so Laura, he now has 3 of these bacteria missiles inside of him, and he's still rampaging. He's not slowing down. And we have a scene with the scientists and the military discussing, what do we have to do to take him out? And what do they kind of figure out is the reason why this bacteria isn't as effective as they think it should be?
They realize that since Godzilla is essentially a huge lizard, he has a very low body temperature. And bacteria reproduces better with heat. So the bacteria are not producing fast enough or well enough to do any effect on Godzilla because of his low body temperature.
Now, they're trying to figure out a way to raise his body temperature, and they come up with a doozy of a fucking plan here.
Yeah.
Laura, they set up a special area with a fake rainstorm.
Mm-hmm.
What is their plan? What are they doing? What are they using to do this with?
Yeah, it's called the TC system, and from what I could understand of it, it fake thunder, and it creates like a fake heat. Or like the thunder creates heat, and they're going to use that to warm up Godzilla so the bacteria reproduces better. I guess it has like to do with warm fronts, like creating thunderstorms.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I thought was possibly the reason.
we see back at the defense headquarters, they have all of these laser cannon on tank array set up.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have at the headquarters, they're showing you the displays of like different grids that if he steps in these different grids, they're going to do these different things. And that's essentially what happens is Godzilla comes in, they start to blast him with the tanks on the ground with their specialized lightning, I guess. And they're also calling lightning down from the sky in different formats, like somehow like using, like you said, like, I don't know. I didn't get it. It's
Yeah, I didn't really completely understand the science behind this part.
It's Japanese science / witchcraftery.
Yeah.
But they end up bringing Godzilla's body temperature up enough that he starts to get a little woozy. He starts to feel a little sick, right?
Yeah, he gets like a little like head wobbly kind of thing. And you're like, oh, he looks like he might go down any second now.
And he does, right? He kind of falls over like those horses you talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the horse is falling over.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Godzilla falls much like the horse, and he's down. All right, now you're definitely going to have to help me here, Laura. When does he get back up, and at what point does Biollante return from Spore Heaven?
So Biollante is like in the ground, and the spores come down from heaven and kind of like fertilize him.
Yeah.
So like, because all all the vines and the tentacles, like, they come up out of the ground, and like she's completely evolved now, and she looks fucking awesome.
Yeah,
like, one of my favorite looking kaijus.
This kaiju is pretty badass. It's like in a sitting position at this point.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's on like a throne full of the vines.
Yeah, it looks like you said, like on a throne of vines, or like if you were to equate it to a vehicle, it looks like a tank almost, like kind of lower to the ground. And instead of the rose head now we have Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. Except like a crocodile version.
Yeah, and with a fuckload of teeth.
The most teeth ever. So Biollante opens its maw, and it's, some things have 2 rows of teeth, some things have 3. It's got teeth to its throat.
Yeah, teeth just covering every surface. Do you think that's because the dentist wrote the screenplay?
It's very possible. It is very possible this guy's obsession with teeth was brought into this. And like you said, it's got the vines, but now even more so, the snapping heads on the vines are even bigger. And Godzilla wakes up at this point, right? Like Godzilla kind of stumbles back up, and this is where they have their final battle. Yeah.
Yeah. And Biollante's not stationary anymore.
No.
She charges at him, like, and it looks really fucking cool. Like, it's. I love the way they shot this. In the special features I was watching, they said that it was the most wire work up to that point that they'd ever used for any of the kaijus. It like beat out how much wire work they had to use for King Ghidorah, like in previous movies.
Right, because all the heads, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks great. It really does look great. So they they're kind of going back and forth. Now, does the Super X2 pop up during their fight, or is it after again? Where there's a point where the fire mirror doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, the fire mirror doesn't. I think it's after their fight. They still have to defeat Godzilla at this point because the bacteria has still not completely taken him down. But yeah, the fire mirror's all fucked up. They're like, oh, it doesn't even work anymore. Don't bother with it. Just use the missiles on it. The Super X2 is shooting the missiles at it. And they're like, that's not working either. Open up the fire mirror just in case. And Godzilla just fucking shoots at it and melts it and explodes it.
Yeah, blast it out. So, Laura, how does the fight between Godzilla and Biollante come to its conclusion?
Honestly, at one point, I was just like, oh, like, Biollante's gonna kill Godzilla, like, or like send him back in the sea. But Godzilla defeats Biollante, and once again, Biollante becomes the golden spores rising up into heaven, and we see the spirit of Erica also rising up into heaven with her head on a gorgeous little background. It's a very sweet little moment.
It looks like a high school yearbook picture floating in the air. Yeah. It was corny. It wouldn't have been corny if they just had done if it was like a Jedi Force Ghost where it was like her, but like in a blue light and her whole body floated up. But like Biollante, like Godzilla just eventually blasts the shit out of Biollante with his heat beam and she explodes again. And then Erica, like just this little like octagon stop sign like thing with her head in the middle of it, smiling, just floats up into heaven. And as everybody's watching this happen, the doctor, Shimagura, this is his daughter, he watches this and he's like, Erica is I very close came to doing an Asian accent there. And I'm been very good about not doing that. Erica, is at resting now and she's immortal. She's forever. And just as he's having this nice moment, like kind of saying goodbye to his daughter, he gets assassinated.
He gets fucking shot.
He gets shot. And then who is it? It's the fucking Arab guy again, or the long-haired, cool car.
Seradian dude. Seradian sunglass bro.
Now, he kills the doctor, and then he tries to get away, but our other two characters, what's his name again, Laura? Help me.
Hiroshima.
Yeah, he chases after him, and we have this great chase scene, car chase and everything. And
cars
finally,
are flipping over and everything.
Cars fucking flying through the sky, flipping over.
Yeah.
And eventually, they end up back at what was the name of the defense system again? The
The TC system.
TC system. They end up in that field, and our assassin slash saboteur slash kind of like weird tertiary bad guy through this whole movie ends up stepping into one of the grids that he shouldn't be in, and false lightning, fake whatever it is, whatever this Japanese sorcery is, blows him the fuck up. And that's pretty much where the movie kind of like comes to rest. We have a moment between our two characters that have we didn't talk a lot about it, but the two characters that have been, like their light love story through this whole thing. And she says to him, are you going to go to America now? Cause you remember Massachusetts wants him. And he goes, no, I'm going to stay here. They need me here. And she goes, well, what are you going to do now? And now remember, this is a Japanese movie. This is like, what's the word? Chaste. What are you going to do now? And he's like, well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to bed because I'm exhausted. And she goes, I'll come with you. And I'm like, oh shit.
And then he goes, now? And she says, always.
Always. Yeah. I was like,
sweet.
Yeah. I'm like, but they fucked right as soon as they got back to his apartment.
They used the Godzilla dong thing.
Yeah. He's rubbing the anti-nuclear bacterium serum on his penis. He's like, I'll be right in. I'll be right there. All right. So that is Laura's choice. That is 1989's Godzilla vs. Biollante. Let's get into as much as I can talk about the box office for this thing.
All you care about is money.
All right, Laura, I don't have the usual goodies here, but I will tell you this. So it looks like this movie ended up costing 700 million yen, which is approximately $10.7 million. And in box office, it made 1.04 billion yen, which I'm not doing the math and it didn't do it for me, but it didn't do as good as Toho expected. And that is part of the reason why there was a couple of years before the next film. The next film was 1991, so it's not that long, but I guess the original plan was to get the next one out the following year, and they kind of had to figure things out a little bit with that. One of the things that it did say in here that I read a few different spots is that Back to the Future Part 2, which was released in America in November, was either still rolling in Japan there or was just released in Japan in December of that year, and it was kicking this movie's ass. There's the DeLorean again, I guess. So interesting. Let's rate this fucking thing.
Now! What's it gonna be, Doc? Huh? What's it gonna be?
All right, you guys know the score, 0 to 5. 0 being the worst thing ever, 5 being the absolute best thing ever. I'll go first in this one. We'll leave Laura last. We won't do ladies first here tonight. So I'm not a Godzilla guy, but I will say that I give this movie a lot of credit for throwing a lot. There's a lot. They threw a lot at the wall on this one. We have the father-daughter, father and deceased daughter angle. There's some heart there. We have a love story that's kind of like boiling throughout this whole thing. We have international espionage with all these different companies and countries and pharmaceutical places trying to steal the Godzilla cells. We have this backstory of the anti-nuclear bacteria agent and what it was used for and what it could be used for. We have a really great kaiju for Godzilla to go up against. Biollante is not in this movie a lot, only 2 scenes really. And in the first one, all she does is just kind of stand there, does a couple cool things, look cool, but get beat pretty easily. But then when she comes back at the end, it's with a vengeance, like Laura said, very badass looking. Like if I was a Godzilla fan or collector, I would want that toy. I'd want that figure. I know they're doing all kinds of figures. I think maybe through Super 7 right now. If that's not one of them, it should be. Very cool. Godzilla, again, this is a Godzilla movie. This is, from the era where it was a guy in a rubber suit, and it still looks cool. Like, Godzilla, the fins lighting up before he blasts the breath is still cool. So I enjoyed this movie. I am not over the moon about it, but I enjoyed this movie. So I'm going to give it a 3.25. Definitely something I would watch again. And I feel like if I was a Godzilla head like Laura, who's probably going to give this 5 or maybe 7, I would go higher, but I'm going to go 3.25. I would not be against watching this again. And I am definitely curious to check out maybe more movies in the Heisei era. I know the next one I think is King Ghidorah, and I'm familiar with King Ghidorah, so that would be pretty cool. So that's what I give it. Laura, what do you give Godzilla versus Biollante?
So, as opposed to you, I am over the moon about this movie. This is one of my favorite out of all of them. I think that this one is one of the most beautiful ones. The matte paintings are incredible. The miniature work is incredible. Like, I think my dream job would have been to be a miniature maker for Toho Studios in the 80s and the 90s. I can never get that job because that time has passed. But I would love to be making these miniatures and just putting this movie together. I think Biollante just looked gorgeous. Even in the rose form, I thought it was haunting. And then when it evolved, it just becomes so fucking cool looking. Just all of those teeth is just so fucking cool. And yeah, the story's kind of convoluted and hard to follow, especially with the language barrier. You really have to pay attention to what's going on in this one. But like I said, one of my favorites. I think it's rewatchable, at least for me. So I'm going to give this one a 4.75.
That's good. That's very good. I thought you were going to go 5. I thought maybe just the whole Godzilla-ness of it would have.
Yeah, I'm very picky about my 5s.
Okay.
I like to reserve those.
Is there a Godzilla 5 for you? Is there a Godzilla movie that you would probably put like at the top of your list? Or if you don't assign a 5 to it, like is there one that you're like, this is my favorite of the Godzilla films?
I'm going to say I really enjoyed the two newer ones, like Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1 were just excellent movies. I thought both of them. I know some people don't really like Shin Godzilla as much, but Godzilla -1 was great. I still wouldn't give those 5s, though. I think like 4.75 is the high end for Godzilla for me.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. A couple months ago, I was going through one of my just going on Amazon, buying Blu-rays like I have all the money in the world phases. And I bought the original, the Criterion of the 1954 Godzilla, which I have seen in forms when I was younger, because there's the American version of it and the edit and all that stuff. So I suggest that at some point before the year's up, Laura, me and you do that one as well.
Oh yeah, totally. I would love to do that. You know what? Let's just do all of them in order. How about that? I know you're ending it next year. But
yeah. Let's just shift this into
all of them.
Welcome to The Pint, a Godzilla pop culture podcast. My name is John, and we are here to talk about Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
And then Mechagodzilla 2.
Yeah, let's just do them all. Let's just do every single.
No, but yeah, I would love to do that first one because that one's just a great movie in and of itself. Like the human story is good, and it's just the black. Like I love how it's black and white, and it just looks really cool. But yeah, I would definitely love to do that one.
All right, you heard it here first, Pint listeners. You know where to find us. We are The Pint, a pop culture podcast. At The Pint Pop on Instagram, the only social media we still have. If you go to YouTube, The Pint, a pop culture podcast. If you want to join up with our insider Patreon, you just have to go to Patreon/The Pint. And for $2.50 a month, you get all kinds of extra episodes. We just passed 100 last month. So you can pay your $2.50, go and take as long as you need to listen to all 100 episodes or the ones you want to listen to, and then cancel. I don't really care. Enjoy it. Do what you want to do. It doesn't matter. I don't need your money. I want to entertain you. So yeah. Do that, and April, we had a bunch of fun stuff coming this month, but I'm not going to tell you any more about it. See ya.
It's over, Johnny. It's over! Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!